NBL25 was one of the greatest seasons ever, but that was last season. With the slate wiped clean, all teams have retooled with some of the best talent to hit the NBL court, with what looks likely to be the most competitive title chase in NBL history. The Adelaide 36ers had a blockbuster off-season, headlined by the shock signing of five-time MVP Bryce Cotton that sent shockwaves across the league. They built a juggernaut roster by re-signing explosive import Montrezl Harrell, welcoming back Breakers star Zylan Cheatham to the NBL, and retaining key players DJ Vasiljevic and Isaac Humphries, instantly transforming the 36ers into a championship powerhouse.
Bryce Cotton signing with the Adelaide 36ers is probably the biggest surprise and biggest signing in recent history, if not ever. Just an incredible coup for Adelaide to be able to attract a player of Bryce's capabilities.
Harrell inside and one for Montrez.
Monstar is back in Adelaide, and he's bringing back his 20 points, 9 rebounds a game, all second team NBL, and he averaged, I think, 4 dances a game. He brings the energy, man. He's like the crowd favorite. Adelaide have put their arms around him. He's reciprocated. He loves the kids. And now he's got a running mate with him. Another 6'7", 6'8", freak of an athlete, high-octane guy, Zylan Cheatham. And we saw Zylan do some work about a year and a half ago, NBL 23, 24. Interrupted a little bit because he had a stretch fracture in his foot, if I recall. But when he's healthy, man, he's jumping higher than both of us, and he's an excitement machine.
I mean, Adelaide is obviously a great city. The team that we put together is nothing short of great, nothing short of talented, and I think we have a city that's behind us, and I think it's a match made in heaven.
Adelaide's recruiting didn't stop there, securing the signatures of high-level role players including Flynn Cameron from Melbourne United, Isaac White from the Brisbane Bullets, and Michael Harris from the Perth Wildcats.
Flynn Cameron was one of the biggest dominoes to fall in the off-season of free agency period. Adelaide doing enough to get him a 3-year deal, locking the young superstar in for a multi-year process is something that got Adelaide fans excited. That was the first tick. And then part of the rest of, I guess, rebuild for Adelaide was bringing back some local talent that fans could get behind they've missed out on in the past. That's Michael Harris, Isaac White, 2 young South Australians who now fans get to really get behind. When you look at every talented team that goes on to achieve the ultimate success of a championship, you need to have your superstars to really weather the storm throughout a long season, but that supporting cast becomes so crucial, especially in deep playoff runs. Having talent that you can rely on the bench when you face adversity, foul trouble, injuries is key to making sure you can go and win a championship. And I think the 36ers and Mike Wells have all of that now. It's all about making sure that process comes day to day, and then when the adversity hits, the young guys have to step up.
I'm glad that we're getting to the point to be able to do that. You know, it's exciting to have all these new pieces with our team. And now as a head coach and the coaching staff, we're getting excited to work on those things. And then we have to figure out how to play with Bryce Cotton and how to play with Montrezl Harrell and Zylan Cheatham. And, you know, it's a daunting task at times, but a really fun challenge. I think we've got a really interesting group, and it's going to be a really great environment for the Adelaide 36ers and the Adelaide fans. And hopefully the NBL can enjoy it.
The best team all season long. The NBL championship now lives in the goal.
Fresh off the back of one of the greatest drought-breaking NBL championships, the reigning champions Illawarra Hawks will be hunting back-to-back glory as they prepare to defend their crown.
Unbelievable opportunity, great for our organization and our guys. I'm stoked about it. I want to have an opportunity to do it again, but our mindset has to be different, and we got to be a lot better.
This season's Hawks will look slightly different with the departure of All-NBL25 first-team member Trey Kell and local star big man Lockie Ulbrich, who was drafted to the Chicago Bulls in this season's NBA draft.
We lost 2 big pieces. I mean, I'm happy for those guys' success where they're going now. Our job is to hopefully find somebody to simulate what they've done and, find a way to win again. But those 2 guys were big pieces to our championship.
Returning to the sandpit will be the core of the NBL25 champions, including championship hero Will Hickey and All-NBL25 first-team member Tyler Harvey.
Looking back on the championship, it was obviously a great moment for the city, a great moment for us as a team, but that chapter's closed, and now we're looking forward to building something special for NBL26, knowing that you got to start back from the beginning, and it's a process. You bring in new guys in, Yeah, we have some returners, but nothing's ever the same. And trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together as we go on throughout this year it's always a fun challenge and experiment. So we're looking forward to it, man, and see what happens.
Tyler Harvey returning to the Illawarra Hawks is massive for them. We saw last year what he's capable of doing. He's a player that is one of the elite shooters in the competition.
Harvey, that's what he does best.
I think it was his best season. He played a lot more controlled, much more in their system, and it's hard to find players that can step up at those big moments, and Tyler Harvey is one of those guys. He's a superstar of the competition. He knows the league. Players like that coming back to their same franchise they've been with their entire career. It sounds like a natural small thing, but it's actually a big coup for Illawarra because he's a player that would attract global interest.
Hickey for three.
Will Davo Hickey. What a story. One of my favorite players in the entire league. He's coming back. He is a NBL champion. He's a 3x3 Kangaroo Asia Cup champion, and he just got an Asian Cup championship with the Boomers. This dude, man, everywhere he goes, he just wins. Now he's coming back with another year under his belt, man, expecting big things out of Davo. And if I'm the Illawarra Hawks, I'm starting Davo at the point. I'm gonna get myself a combo 2-3 guy and just give Davo the keys.
With a number of their core players returning for the chance at back-to-back championships, the Hawks landed three-time NBA champion JaVale McGee and former NBA forward and New Zealand breaker Jonah Bolden, following the departures of Darius Days and Hyunjung Lee.
Probably the hardest thing for Justin Tatum and the Hawks to try and replace was the interior presence without Sam Froling, who went down with the Achilles injury in the championship series last season. They went out there and landed probably one of the biggest fish we've seen hit the NBL in three-time NBA champion JaVale McGee, who might be 37 years of age, but is coming off an unbelievable season in Puerto Rico, playing some of the best individual basketball of his life. We perhaps haven't seen a defensive presence like this who's able to alter shots, block shots, finish dunks on the other end in a very long time. The JaVale McGee signing is huge for the Hawks, it's huge for the NBL, and it's massive for their chances to try and go back-to-back. With that, they needed some outside shooting, and they went and got Jonah Bolden, who many thought was going to head over to Japan after a year in New Zealand. And Jonah Bolden, with a couple more years under his belt since coming back from retirement, with the outside shot the way that he's moving, is a perfect complement to the rest of the roster they've got to try and go back-to-back.
For Melbourne United, the heartbreak of losing back-to-back championship series will serve as powerful motivation to reclaim their dominance and hope to go one better.
The pain lessens as soon as you find a way forward. And so as we dug in the off-season to say, hey, these are things we need to be better at. These are some areas that we want to recruit to try and give ourselves a chance to win it and put a new team together and learn some lessons from what happened and just move forward. So, yeah, the pain wasn't that long-lasting, but the motivation to have that happen twice, to not have it happen again, is a huge motivator.
Despite the significant departures of Championship Series MVP Matthew Dellavedova, NBA champions Ian Clark and Jack White, Melbourne are buoyed by the signing of NBL next star and projected top 10 NBA draft pick Dash Daniels, former JackJumper and NBL champion Milton Doyle, and the return of Finn Delaney to the NBL.
While losing Matthew Dellavedova, Ian Clark and Jack White is a tough loss for any team, Melbourne United bring in exciting next star Dash Daniels, the younger brother of the most improved player in the NBA, Dyson Daniels, who at 17 years old, it's hard not to compare the two with where they were both at in that part of their journey. But a lot of talk and from what we see from Dash is his offensive game's a little bit more improved than Dyson's was at the same age. They both have this incredible ability defensively to use their IQ to get in the passing lanes, use their length and athleticism to be disruptive. With the added offensive game and under Dean Vickerman for a year, there's a big reason why Dash Daniels is expected to be an NBA lottery pick next year.
Yeah, super excited to just get out there with the boys and get the season rolling, hoping for a championship by the end. But yeah, that's some of my goals, just getting to that championship, being happy with myself at the end, just being super aggressive and super excited to get out there for NBL26.
One of the big off-season signings is Melbourne United with Milton Doyle. The last couple of years, Melbourne United have been right there in those grand final series and weren't able to get over the hump. So they've gone to someone that actually beat them. and that is Milton Doyle from the JackJumpers. He's a guy that is so versatile at both ends of the floor. He can guard multiple positions. Offensively, he can help you in a variety of different ways. So I think it's a huge signing, and he's a guy that is not afraid of the moment, as we've seen throughout the playoffs. He reminds me so much of one of the all-time greats in Leroy Loggins, and I think that versatile guy that they bring in, that can shoot the three ball, can get to the rim, can defend, it's going to be a big asset for Melbourne United.
This offseason was one of the first off-seasons I had a chance to talk to teams really in the NBL. I always kind of been tied to Tasmania, and no one thought I was ever leaving, but this time I didn't really have a contract on the table at the time, and United was one of the few teams that actually reached out to check, and I had good conversations with all the coaches and front office people, and they ended up working out.
New imports joining United this season are dynamic scoring guard Tyson Walker and shot-blocking 7-footer Jesse Edwards.
I'm just really excited to play here, to get started here. For me, it's a fresh challenge, and I don't take it any less of a challenge than I would the NBA.
With the return of superstar Chris Goulding and back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year Shea Ili, this United roster still has the firepower to make another strong push for the championship.
While they may have lost back-to-back championships the last 2 years, if you fast forward 8 months from now and Melbourne United are holding the trophy, finally getting across the line this year, it's going to be on the back of Chris Goulding and Shea Ili, regardless of who else is on the roster. You've got one of, if not the best defensive player in the league in Shea Ili, who does all the little things year in, year out, game in, game out, to affect winning in a positive way. And then you've got Chris Goulding, who turns 37 this year, but is doing anything but slowing down and is one of the most prolific scorers the league's ever seen. With all the other talent that's come in, like Milton Doyle, Tyson Walker, Finn Delaney, it's going to be on the back of Shea Ili and Chris Goulding to see how far they can go and what they can achieve.
The Perth Wildcats had a solid NBL26 campaign, led by 5-time NBL MVP Bryce Cotton. They came agonisingly close to reaching the championship series, falling just 1 point short in Game 3 of the playoffs, a contest widely regarded as one of the greatest games in NBL history.
Game 3, Perth in Melbourne. Where were you when that game took place?
Look at this aggressive man! Oh, look at it!
Were you in the crowd lucky enough to witness one of the greatest games we've ever seen? Were you sitting on the couch?
Doolittle for the lead! Yes!
The unbelievable shot making.
Waxed up! Goal! Extraordinary!
4 guys going over 30 plus.
Just remarkable!
The defense was at an extremely high level.
What a contest this is!
It's just players stepped up on the biggest stage between 2 clubs that have a rich history of putting on these incredible performances. Chris Goulding, Christian Doolittle, Bryce Cotton doing his thing. Everybody stepped up to give us one of the greatest games we've ever seen.
Melbourne by a point with a second left in Game 3. What a performance!
Game 3, you know, when you're so close, but yet so far. But my true reflection of that is, like, discipline in the moment is key, and Melbourne just showed a little bit more than us.
The heartbreak didn't stop there for the Red Army. The season-long speculation that Bryce Cotton would move on from Perth became a reality in the off-season, with the 3-time champion signing with traditional rivals, the Adelaide 36ers.
Losing a player like Bryce Cotton, it's virtually impossible to replace.
Bryce Cotton, no longer a Perth Wildcat. Thought I'd never see the day. I don't know if there's a spokesperson for the Red Army. I don't know if they got an Army medic. But if they do, I'm sure he's been busy passing out all type of painkillers, because it's not going to be the same. But that's not all they lost. They lost Keanu Pinder. So they got some rebuilding to do, but I think they got the pieces to do it.
While big names would depart, the Wildcats retain the services of star imports Dylan Windler and Christian Doolittle.
The Wildcats made sure that they kept Dylan Windler and Christian Doolittle as their foundation for not just NBL26, but for the next few years to come. Christian Doolittle took a massive step forward last year from going for an all-NBL defender into one of the best offensive talents and two-way threats that we've seen, and now should be putting his name in the category of an all-NBL caliber player come the end of NBL26.
Joining Doolittle and Windler this season will be former NBL champion Joe Luala-Chul Jr. Sunday Detch and Latmayan.
Picking up a guy like Joe Lawala-Chul, a guy that's won a title here in the NBL, a guy that knows the league, that brings size, who's been playing overseas. I think that it's a huge addition to the Perth Wildcats as they try to find a way to make up for the loss of Bryce Cotton.
Obviously, talking to JR and seeing how he was going to use me in the system and seeing the kind of system they were in, I think it's kind of tailor-made for someone like me. So being able to play in that system is something I'm very excited about. And also, I think everyone knows Perth has the best fans in the league. It's the one place where around the league, coaches are like, just stay composed, it's going to get loud, So being on the other side of it is something I'm very excited about.
Also joining the Wildcats this season will be one of Europe's most exciting young prospects, NBL next star Noah Kwaku-Herg.
The Wildcats' incredible history of preparing next stars for the NBA has continued, and the French next star Noah is a really exciting talent. 6'10", incredibly long, versatile. What he can do defensively is probably what has NBA eyes so excited to see how he works in a professional system. But as his offensive game continues to improve, he's got junior MVP trophies under his belt. He's represented France at both the Under-17 and Under-19 World Cup. All the talent's there to showcase what NBA eyes want to see in the future. But I think he's going to be a really important piece for this Perth Wildcats trying to get back to a championship series.
After pushing the eventual champions, the Hawks, to a Game 3 in the playoffs last season, the Phoenix enter NBL26 with plenty to prove. Led by their four-time All-NBL star Nathan Sobey.
Sobey saw it coming and had neon lights flashing all over it.
Southeast Melbourne will be looking to push for their maiden championship.
Reflecting on last season, obviously we had a lot of ups and downs, and we were able to dig ourselves out of a big hole, but ultimately got to play at the right time of the year, and we were so close. So there's going to be a lot of hunger and desire out of that and how close we were. So we're really looking forward to this season.
Southeast Melbourne Phoenix last season had a lot of upheaval. The coach gets sacked, Mike Kelly. In comes Josh King. What he did was he rejuvenated that group. That team all of a sudden started playing with way more enthusiasm, way more energy, and they made it all the way to the semifinal series against the eventual champions, Illawarra Hawks. And I feel like what they can take out of that is this is what we're capable of. You get Josh King a full year. He's made some moves. He's brought in some Josh King kind of guys. I'm expecting them to feature again in the top 6. Where? Who knows? But their future looks bright.
After losing their star import duo Matt Hurd and Derek Walton Jr. in the off-season, the Phoenix landed 2024 G-League champion Hunter Maldonado, versatile 6'9" Belgian wing Vrens Blijenberg, and hard-nosed veteran forward John Brown III.
Yeah, this season we wanted to get deeper, have a deeper team. Again, we want to be up the floor using both sides of the floor, but in order to play a fast, up-tempo style offense and defense, we really need to play 10 guys at least every game. So we tried to work on recruiting guys that could play multiple positions, get bigger, add more length and size to our roster. And then in the end, we wanted to have an experienced import to go along with Vrens and Hunter Maldonado. So we added John Brown at the end, who we think can really anchor down our defense because we want to be a defensive-minded team.
Signing with Phoenix, I'm very excited because I've been a long time coming to playing the NBL, and I'm very excited with that. And with the team we have and the coaching staff we have, a lot of energy, which I bring, and we just need to put it together for a good season.
Everybody was fascinated to see what Josh King could do with a full off-season to build a roster to his liking. Part of that was always going to be guys who can play positionless basketball, and that's what he's brought in with Hunter and Vrens. Hunter Maldonado being 6'6", he's played a couple of years professionally in the G League and then Germany last year. He's someone that Josh King's going to throw out there to use his size and height to try and combat some of the other point guards in the league. Vrens is the NBL unicorn this year. He's 6'10", he can play the point guard, he can play a power forward, and he's someone that Josh King wants to really throw out there and see how can he affect the game compared to any other player in the league and have that unicorn presence that we haven't seen for a very long time. He's got incredible IQ, his passing game is elite, so if he wants him to handle the rock, you're just envisioning now a 6'10" point guard going up against a Shea Lee or a Kendrick Davis, and it's something we've never seen. I'm fascinated to see how it comes together.
Returning to the Phoenix this season will also be NBL Next star Malik Lewis, who's looking to step up his game in the lead-up to the 2026 NBA Draft.
What I love about Malik Lewis's decision to return before going to the draft next year is that he understands where his game has to get to be a first-round pick next year. His body's continued to improve, he understands how the NBL is playing, and right now he wants to be the Defensive Player of the Year. That kind of mindset, under the way Josh King coaches, another 8 months of that playing at the highest level, and you can already see what Malik Lewis can bring an NBA team if you fast forward 12 months from now.
I'm really excited to come back. You know, I wasn't a doubt where I was going to go. I was always going to come back to Phoenix. This year, I'm just looking to be more aggressive and be an option on a team that can contribute. You know, not just a guy that's participating, but someone that's out there that, you know, they can count on. If I pass the ball, he's going to make this shot. He's going to make this play. He can create opportunities for other people. So, yeah, that's just something I'm excited to be back and be doing on the court.
The Sydney Kings made a splash in the off-season, landing NBA champion and NBL26 Championship Series MVP Matthew Dellavedova and MVP runner-up Kendrick Davis. They join a strong existing core featuring former MVP Xavier Cooks, NBL26 Sixth Man of the Year Kwat Noi, and lockdown defender Bull Quo.
Kendrick Davis was a star last year.
Davis getting to the cup.
He was one of those guys that most people were talking about as an MVP candidate because Kendrick Davis is that good.
The Sydney Kings, man, you can't rest on them dudes for a second. They're going to leave no stone unturned. What did they do in the offseason? They go and get the quintessential point guard, Matthew Dellavedova, an out-and-out champion. And who do they put him with? Kendrick Davis, who electrified the league last season.
Kendrick Davis fires a bomb from the halfway!
In 1 year, MVP runner-up. Them two in the same backcourt has the potential to be plutonium.
Super excited. Unbelievable teammate, pushes you to be better, and unbelievable person. So super excited. Can't wait to get a bunch of assists from him and a bunch of wins.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have signed in Sydney. Obviously, Gorge, Bogues, Luke Longley, guys I've had great relationships. Really excited to get on the floor playing with Zave and KD as well.
And when you add guys like Jaden Galloway, who's coming off an unbelievable Asia Cup campaign, Bull Quall, I'm telling you, as fans in Sydney, it's going to be exciting.
Despite losing former MVP Jalen Adams and Cam Oliver, along with Alex Tui, who was selected with pick 52 in the NBA draft, the Sydney Kings enter the season once again with high aspirations of claiming their third championship in 5 seasons.
Address the issues from last year. Better leadership, more experience, addition of Andrew Bogut on staff. So our whole package as the Kings, off-season program, everything is moving forward, and I like our chances as from where we were last year.
The Kings did all their off-season recruiting work early, and they had this last centerpiece that they really need to nail because they needed some height. They went out there and got a returning champion in Tim Suarez to not just add height to the program, but to add some great touch from the outside and give a lot of space for Kendrick Davis and Matthew Dellavedova to operate in. With all the talent on the Sydney Kings roster this year, perhaps Jalen Galloway is the most exciting prospect to watch for what's going to happen in the next 8 months. He's fresh off an MVP of the Asia Cup for the Boomers, where his outside shot looks terrific. And you just go back to last year through all of Sydney's struggles, it started to turn a corner when he was put into the starting lineup and unfortunately suffered an ill-timed shoulder injury which ruled him out for the rest of the season. He's just 22 years old with ambitions to get back to the NBA after his short stint for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think this year when he puts it all together, we're going to see a much improved Jalen Galloway, who we might not see for much longer when he gets that NBA call up again. With all the incredible signings the Sydney Kings made in the last 5 months, their biggest and best one perhaps came in the coaching ranks, bringing in Australian legend Andrew Bogut. There is just no one else in Australian basketball who understands and sees the game like Andrew Bogut. Adding that alongside the GOAT in Brian Gorge and with all of his knowledge and understanding, it really is the recipe for success.
I'm over the moon. To have a basketball brain like that in our team is going to be huge for us. And even being there with this short stint, you can see what he can bring to the team and his impact and his knowledge and his experience have come a long way.
Gorge has spoken about how the future of the Kings is Andrew Bogut. So this is a succession plan that you can just see working out for both parties involved. the greatest of all time, finishing up his coaching career at the Sydney Kings, then handing the reins over to one of the greatest legends we've ever seen of the game. And what he's going to do with that and Australian basketball going forward is a great time for the Sydney Kings and the sport.
The Tasmania JackJumpers had a busy off-season, bringing in quality imports Bryce Hamilton, David Johnson and Tiger Campbell, who replaced departed championship heroes Milton Doyle and Jordan Crawford.
Tiger Campbell's an exciting prospect. At 5'11", he's going to be a fan favourite, but he's also a great facilitator and he's going to get the ball to David Johnson and Bryce Hamilton, who right now I look at as two of the most important pieces to their roster. David Johnson's got an incredible outside game. He can shoot the ball at a high rate, but it's Bryce Hamilton who's got to be the most excited for this Tasmania JackJumpers squad. Bryce Hamilton is a stud. His reputation to come in as a high-level scorer, he can fill up the stat sheet, he's a high-level defender. If at the end of the season Bryce Hamilton's an all-NBL first-teamer, it wouldn't shock me one bit. If they're going to win a championship, and I fully expect the JackJumpers to be there once again, it's going to be in the back of what Bryce Hamilton can do.
Scott Roth and them had talked to me and got on the Zoom and everything, and we talked about just how their culture is and everything, their style of play, and how it'd be a great fit for me to come out here and get better. And it's hard to turn down joining this league and being with a great coach that has a lot of great experience and everything.
Scott Roth has a way of finding guys who are almost running out of opportunities, and he just somehow throws them a lifeline, and those three guys are going to come in and play their absolute guts out for him.
While on the local signing front, former Brisbane big man Josh Bannon joins the Apple Isle, as well as energetic backcourt duo Ben Eyre and Nick Marshall.
Scott Roth seems to be able to pull the right levers in order to be competitive, and he's pulled a great one in finding a way to get Josh Bannon to leave the Brisbane Bullets to come and play with the JackJumpers. The combination of him and Will Magnay. You've got Josh Bannon who can stretch the floor, he's inside, outside, but his ability to hit the three ball as a big, he can play as a 4, he can play as a 5. He's an exceptional talent, but I think there's still more to give in what he can provide in this competition.
Yeah, after the season finished, from sort of headed into free agency, and that came up, and it's a club I've always had a great deal of admiration for. So the opportunity to join that organisation was something that really excited me, and be a part of a very gritty club was something I relished and have been very happy to join.
As the JackJumpers retool, trying to replicate their championship run from NBL24, one key piece missing will be star guard Sean McDonald, who suffered an ACL injury in the off-season.
It's heartbreaking for him. He's one of Australia's most exciting guards, and he unfortunately goes down with an ACL representing the Boomers before they go away for the Asia Cup. It's a tough break, especially because look back to last season and he does his ankle in Singapore in the lead up to the season, and it derailed the entire year for the JackJumpers. This year, Scott Roth, the coaching staff, literally hand him a set of keys to say, we want you to run this franchise going forward. And now he has to put that on the back burner, do all the rehab, and no doubt come back a stronger and better player.
After finishing 8th last season and missing the postseason for the 6th straight year, the Brisbane Bullets parted ways with head coach Justin Schuller.
Brisbane Bullets last season, and by no means do I advocate making excuses, but this team had the worst run of injuries I've ever seen. Justin Schuller, head coach, was finding it difficult just to find 5 healthy guys from week to week. With that being said, they made a decision to move on from Justin Schuller. In comes Stu Lash from the front office, who's got his eyes over the whole program. He's not new to what's going on in Brisbane. So now his challenge is a new head coach. That's going to be tough, being a rookie.
While NBL25 wasn't a successful campaign for the Bullets, they had an impressive off-season, securing the signature of former NBL MVP, Jalen Adams.
He's a star in the competition. He is an MVP. He's been part of a championship-winning team, and he's shown that he can deliver.
Big time from Jalen Adams.
So I think if you're the Brisbane Bullets and you're thinking, well, how do we improve? How do we give ourselves the best chance to succeed? They've done a really good job of getting Jalen on board because he knows the league and he's been a star in this league.
Yeah, teaming up with Jalen Adams is going to be amazing for me. Especially a guy of his pedigree, came in the league, He's dominated, MVP, championship status. He's a competitor, winner. And for him, I just want to help him get to that MVP level again, whatever it takes. I think he deserves to be in that category each and every year. He's a dynamic player, and I'm excited about playing with him.
Following the departures of import duo James Bateman and Keandre Cook, local talent Josh Bannon to the JackJumpers, and NBL next star Rocco Zikarsky to the Timberwolves in the NBA draft, the Bullets made a strong statement by signing NBA champion with OKC Alex Dukas and former Toronto Raptor Javon Freeman-Liberty.
Javon Freeman-Liberty, I tell you what, you talk about guys who have a reputation for scoring the ball at a high level. Looking across the board, you've got Bryce Cotton, yes. Kendrick Davis, yes. But if Javon Freeman-Liberty is leading the league in scoring, that's not going to shock me one bit. The dude is a flat-out bucket. He can score at all three levels, shoot the three, get to the rack. He's got a silky smooth game. But he also has that aggression mindset where when he wants to take over a game, he can do it at a high rate. It's been a rough few years for the Brisbane Bullets and especially their fans who want to see them back in the playoffs and contending for a championship. They've ticked the first box this offseason by bringing in some of the best talent around the league. You've got a former MVP in Jalen Adams, alongside these exciting addition imports in Freeman-Liberty, and then Casey Prather returning fresh off his form last year. Those three should be enough to put enough points on the board, and then you have one of the best local big men in Tyrell Harrison, Sam McDaniel back off a season-ending injury as one of the best point-of-attack defenders, and everything's there for Stu Lash to try and say, hey, let's go and win this thing. The task now for Stu Lash, with no prior head coaching experience, is learning that on the fly, whilst also trying to make sure they win games at a high level to put them in a position to do so.
Coaching philosophy, simplify everything, compartmentalize. I'm very humble and fortunate that I was able to have a lot of experiences in the NBA. The NBA compartmentalizes, whether it's practice, game planning, even coaching the game. So leaning on our staff, leaning on our players. Like, I want to empower our staff, and I want our roster to feel player-led. We're going to play with pace, and we want to be disruptive defensively. Not reinventing the game of basketball when I'm saying these things, but simplifying it and just being really consistent in our approach and what we're trying to get out of our guys every day is like really the mindset of it.
After a strong start to their NBL26 campaign, the New Zealand Breakers had a dramatic collapse, finishing the season with a 10-19 record under first-year coach Petri Koponen. Heading into the preseason, their number one priority, re-signed star guard Parker Jackson Cartwright.
Very important. Our main leader, franchise player, face of the club. Fans love him. We love him, and he's just, one of the best players in the league, so it's a great piece to have him.
The season was easy, sign with New Zealand. It's a special place, the country, the city of Auckland, and the people involved, the supporters. I love being a part of it.
Awesome news, the PJC Parker Jackson Cartwright is back with the Breakers. The vice president of the Little Big Man Society, we was a bit worried because sometimes in the offseason, Parker likes to travel to other countries and dabble a little bit, but he signed his name on the dotted line. He's back to run amok. He's gonna be the fastest guy in the league. He's gonna do everything that he's been doing since he's been here. So Coach Koponen has his lead guard, and he's also got a new flavor in New Zealand. He's brought back a lot of the local guys. They're gonna come back and bring that Haka spirit back to the Breakers. Can't wait to see it.
With the departures of import duo Taco Fall and Matt Mooney, the Breakers signed 6'4" import shooting guard Isaiah Brockington, versatile forward Rob Baker, plus local NBA vets Isaiah Liafa, Rob Lowe, and Ruben Tarangi.
They want to get back to the era of 10 years ago where they were competing for titles year in and year out with a local core by bringing in Isaiah Liafa, Ruben Tarangi, and Rob Lowe. All three players have represented the Breakers at one stage and at the international level for the Tall Blacks. You have a feeling all three of them have a chip on their shoulder coming from other experiences where they didn't play their best basketball, but now get to come home in front of their home fans as they continue to build the community back up in New Zealand and try and win a championship. With how important the local core is going to be, a lot of the responsibility is going to come on the starting five and how they can maximise PJC. The Breakers did that by bringing in combo guard Isaiah Brockington. He's a stronger combo guard who can take the ball handling duties away from PJC at times and also tick the scoreboard over to take a lot of pressure off PJC.
You know, it felt like a really good league, a really good opportunity when the Breakers reached out to my agent right after Summer League, and just talking to them, their new ownership, and seeing their vision, seeing the guys that they had on the roster. I thought it was just a really good opportunity just to begin this new chapter. And yeah, honestly, just, you know, get into a great league that has been growing and has some real names in it.
Also returning to the Breakers this season will be Mexican teenage phenom and NBL next star Kareem Lopez.
I think Kareem Lopez took a lot of people by surprise last year because he was just 17 years old, thrown into a starting lineup, and he had a massive impact. The youngest player ever to have a double-double in the NBL, showed how conducive all of his little attributes are to winning, and now he gets another full season to get his body right and his mind prepared to enter the NBA draft next year. All the draft boards have him as a projected lottery pick. He's got all the characteristics that help a team win. The length, the athleticism to affect it defensively, getting out in transition, finishing above the rim, but he's also got a silky smooth game to be able to knock it down at a high rate from three or get to a mid-range jumper and floater. All of that skill set combined is why NBA teams see him as a projected top pick.
Goals for this year, well, first off, win basketball games. Hopefully we can win a championship, and also, prove myself, just go out there, compete and be the better version of myself.
For the team that finished bottom of the ladder last season, the Cairns Taipans headed into the off-season with a lot of uncertainty. Head coach Adam Ford departed to seek coaching opportunities elsewhere, only to return to the helm.
We all know how good of a coach Adam Ford has been, and we've seen that with the individual development he's had with players like Keanu Pinder and Bullquall, Taron Armstrong. But they've needed everything to go right because they're a smaller market team that hasn't been able to spend the money the bigger teams have. Well, that's all changed. The new vision, the new path that this club is on, and now Adam Ford coming back, there's plenty of reasons why you can see them contending for a championship this year and beyond.
Adam Ford, back in Cairns. He had his house 95% packed up, he was off. And at the last minute, in come a influx of cash. He needed some resources because he's always been a great recruiter. And what he has to work with in Cairns, it's a challenge. It's not like in Sydney. It's not like in Perth. So Adam Ford, now that he has the resources available, you watch what he does. He's already recruited Rain Smith from the States. Sam Wardenberg is back. He's gonna bring in 3 studly imports. Can't wait to see 40 lead these far north Queensland dudes to possibly a playoff spot.
We built a real nice home in Cairns, and so the potential of leaving with unfinished business was a huge determining factor, knowing that there was still this amazing opportunity to come back and do this, and it was a no-brainer.
With the departures of imports Rob Edwards, Tanner Groves and Pedro Bradshaw, along with rising star guard Taron Armstrong joining the Golden State Warriors in the NBA, the Taipans were in need of a marquee signing. And there was no bigger name on the market than NBL Championship Series MVP and former Houston Rocket, Jack McVeigh.
This offseason's been full of surprises, but none bigger than Jack McVeigh coming back to the NBL. Well, this is huge. Where's he going? He's going to the Cairns Taipans. Super effort by Adam Ford to get him. He's a big-time, big-shot player.
McVeigh, 2 on the clock!
A guy that's very versatile, can play multiple positions. He's a little unorthodox with some of the stuff that he does, so he's very hard to guard, and a really good culture guy. This is transformative stuff. Him and Rain Smith, who we've seen at the Asia Cup, the lights-out shooter, the combination of him and Jack McVeigh as your 2 real marquee Australian players, and you build that around a guy like Marcus Lee and a couple of fresh imports, there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Cairns Taipans fan.
I decided to sign in Cairns because I back in 40. He was the one that, when we sat down, we shared a vision, shared a goal, and it was aligned, and I'm excited to play for him.
When you talk about all the recruiting that Adam Ford has done over the years, he has introduced us to guys like Alex Higgins-Titcher. He's introduced us. He managed to somehow get Taron Armstrong to turn his back on college, came here and balled out. Now he's in the NBA. And what is he going to do for an encore? Jack McVeigh. He convinced Jack McVay out of all the places that dude could have went, he's right here in far north Queensland. Arguably, the off-season recruit of the season.
All credit goes to Mark and Troy. That was all them, and I got looped in when I needed to meet with Jack and talk about what the vision would look like from the basketball side of things. But just to get in the room with him, all credit and praise goes to Mark and Troy.
While Jack McVay's a great addition, perhaps the rest of their signings is why I'm more excited. Hagens is a terrific point guard who's coming in to try and show that he is at this level and can take over games when he's called upon. Admiral Schofield will be one of the best defensive players in the league with his size, his physicality and NBA experience. And then you have locals in Alex Higgins-Titcher, who's fresh off an unbelievable 6 months from a development player to at the Golden State Warriors Summer League team and minicamp, as well as Rain Smith, fresh off an Asia Cup, as one of the best young shooters we have on the Australian level. With all those locals, with all the import signings, it's returning big man Sam Wardenberg, who probably holds the keys to what this team can achieve. He was an all-league player in Puerto Rico this off-season, and he comes into an NBL26 season where a lot of people are expecting him to be one of the most dominant forwards around. We've seen the Cairns Taipans get close to a championship series once over the last 5 years, but have never been able to get over the hump. And while they've been anchored to the bottom of the ladder last year, perhaps now is the most important time of any to get on board the Taipans train, because this is the one that can really go out there and win a championship.
My excitement levels for NBL 26 are off the chart. Anybody can win it. In this particular season, NBL 26, every single team is loaded.
If you're going to ask me right now to give you a top 4 or a championship pick, I can't do it. This is the most open season we've ever seen, with the most talent we've ever seen in the NBL. And for all those reasons, every single game is going to be so important, and every single game is going to have highlights and excitement. And why wouldn't you want to be a part of this?
Basketball fans should be unbelievably excited about the upcoming NBL season. There's uncertainty about all 10 teams. Uncertainty of outcome is what every competition in the world is striving for. And I don't know of a league in the world that has greater uncertainty of outcome than the NBL. We've got stars all over the joint. We've got NBA champions coming back into the league. If you love your hoops, this is a season that is shaping up to be like no other.
Whoever gets the wooden spoon is going to be the most talented wooden spoon team we've ever seen. It's going to be a reality TV show. Bring it on.